Hey everyone, it's Mace1370. Today I'm going to share some of my games on my climb through Emperor. Before we get into it though, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, please see the video description below for a link to my Discord. Alrighty, so all these games shown are going to be in sequence, one played after the other. The first opponent is against ITAEC. I have pre-banned Bellion, he pre-banned Lilius, two very common pre-bans in the meta right now. I think Ravi is a very strong first pick with these two pre-bans. He responds with Rimuru and ML Cowrick, two very meta heroes at the moment, and a combination you see really frequently. I respond with Ran Caesarea. I think that Ran and Caesarea are very strong into ML Cowrick and Rimuru, so if you're struggling with that, consider building up your Ran and Caesarea. Part of the reason why is because you're taking the first turn initiative from them with those two. They're both going to be generally faster than ML Cowrick, and so the opponent has several ways that they can respond, but they have to respond, right? If they try to outspeed you, you could potentially slow down yourself, or you could, contest them, and you have Ran, who is, the highest base speed in the game, so kind of advantage in your favor right there already. If they try and tank down, you can go more of a control route. If you think they're going anti-debuff, you could go more damage, or take stealthy DPS. Like, you have a lot of options in the way that you can be flexible with this combination. And I think it's essentially because Ran and Caesarea by themselves can pretty much solo an enemy team, and so you're really able to almost assemble two teams on your side, and basically both of them can beat the opponent, so it's kind of nuts. So here you can see he's taken Acid and Elena. So the Elena, is against the Caesarea here, and the Acid is to speed contest me, but by taking these two, he has very little DPS on his side. Rimuru and Acid alone might even have trouble killing Ravi if you don't get def breaks, especially if Ran puts immunity onto Ravi. So I can take another stealthy DPS here like Landy or perhaps Stenny. I think they would both work. I think Landy's a little bit better here because of the ML Cowrick buffing the enemy team and the Rimuru buffing the enemy team. And then I just take Ruel and I ban whatever he picks last. And I think this is pretty much checkmate since Rimuru and Acid can't deal with Ravi, Landy, and Ruel. And then I also have Ran Caesarea. So even if he's countered my Ran Caesarea here with Acid and Elena, he can't deal with the rest of my team. I kind of screwed up the imprints there, should have flipped Ruel and Ravi around.
Alright, show me what you can do.
So we do outspeed here. I'm just going to go ahead and rip S3 with Ran. I didn't want to push up Rimuru there, so I didn't S2. Now we push up with Caesarea. I like building my Caesarea fast so that she can cut Acid in these situations, and I'd say it works most of the time. So Elena goes here. Unfortunately, we did not strip Rimuru. And I think I'm just going to go for the Acid kill. Unfortunately, it did resist, and that's kind of a bummer. But we did bomb him, which is lucky, so we can turn that bomb, or we can turn his, get rid of his turn here by using S3 and stunning him. So he does not get the turn. He won't be able to put up his evasion buff, and now we can just kill him with Apocalypse Ravi. The def break makes that really easy. We can hold our S3 for later. So now half the opponent's damage is down, and now we just have to deal with Rimuru, and we have Apocalypse Ravi and we have Ruel. So I don't think Rimuru can bust through that, even with ML Cowrick. Elena is just completely dead here. She doesn't really do anything.
I'll do anything for her.
He goes on Ran, but Ran has already done his job. If anything, this is just powering up the S3 for Apocalypse Ravi. Could go for the strip on Rimuru here, but he does have, because he has attack buff, just to mitigate the damage. He resists though, which is unfortunate. But he misses on Caesarea, which is fortunate. So I wanted to S1 to get rid of the attack buff there. I could have gone on Cowrick, but I just felt like I just have to kill Rimuru here. Cowrick has kind of already done his job, and yeah, he'll cycle a lot and stuff, but I don't think it's enough to do anything if we can just kill Rimuru. And getting rid of the attack buff here could prevent Rimuru from actually killing something. So Rimuru with a bunch of buffs and attack buff almost one-shots Ruel. That's pretty awkward. But luckily she survives. If he had killed Ruel there, we might have been in a little bit of a problem just because, you know, we failed to strip. I don't think that we would have lost. Like, he would have used his cooldowns and we probably would have just eventually S3'd with Apocalypse Ravi and gotten hopefully Ruel back, but once Rimuru was dead, it would have been over.
Look beyond the sky.
I never fight a losing battle.
May I help you? There's a reason
I was checking cooldowns, but that's match. Alrighty, next game. Same pre-bans as last time, so same first pick as last time.
I'll take your life.
I know a lot of people are complaining about the meta right now. I think that, just from a perspective of somebody that has wailed on the game and has, you know, a lot of units built up and everything, it feels relatively in a pretty good spot. I could definitely see feeling differently, though, if, you know, I didn't have some of the key units. I think that's kind of always been the case with this game, though. It's an unfortunate, I think, side effect of just the gacha model, right? That they need to release heroes that are powerful and useful, and if they do that, that's going to require investment from you, you know, to be able to get them. The one thing I will say is I think it's pretty bad form to release heroes that are unplayable and then buff them, you know, into OP-ness down the line after their banner has gone away. I think that that is probably the biggest criticism I would have. I think that's just bad for the game. You need to release heroes and you need to be transparent with how good they're going to be out the gate, right? So we have, once again, picked Rand and Caesarea. This time the opponent is picking Violet and Politis after a FCC and Steny opening. So most people are putting their Violets on immunity now, which is pretty annoying. We have a bunch of squishy units on the opponent's side, and so that's kind of making me want to cleave, you know, and go more aggressively here just to delete them before they get a turn. So I think my options would include taking Ida and probably Cerise. So Cerise could be nice here because if the opponent bans Ran, then Cerise is a pretty good opener into Politis and into Violet, since her S3 is element neutral, so she'll reliably take off the immunity from Violet, and she puts Restrict on Politis to prevent her from cutting with CR. And then Ida is nice because, you know, she gets all that CR boost from her own passive and also Caesarea, right? So she can fairly reliably cut Politis, especially if you're using Ran or Cerise in that combo, because Stigma does, you know, kind of a similar thing to Restrict, right? So here I ban Acid, and he ends up banning Apocalypse Ravi. I think this might have been a misban on my part. I think if you take Acid, you might be committing to banning the A-Ravi there. It's just a little awkward. It felt a bit like a coin flip. I was afraid he was going to ban Ran if he took Acid, and if I didn't ban Acid, then he probably would have gotten first turn, and he could have, you know, deleted something, and then I don't know if I would have recovered from that. So it felt like a bit like a coin flip. If I knew he was banning A-Ravi, I would have just banned Violet, and then I would have just probably outsped with Ran and deleted his entire team with this combo. So I kind of feel like I lost the coin flip here a bit, but I think that's okay. So I'm going to skill 3 with Ran. I guess I honestly, this might have been a misplay on my part. I kind of wanted to put immunity up, but now I'm giving Politis the turn, and I had Cerise here, so I think I misplayed. I should have probably just skill 1'd with Ran, honestly, and then skill 3'd with Cerise. So this was a big misplay from me. Alternatively, I could have just skill 3'd with Ran instead of skill 2'ing. Oh, no, I guess if I'm going to skill 3 with Ran, I might as well skill 2 for the immunity. I don't know. It might have been better just to pass it to Cerise, who got the turn anyways. And it looks like Ada is also cutting, so since she's cutting, we might as well skill 3. The nice thing about skill 3ing with Ran right away would be to put Stigma on Politis, and that would have, I think, ensured she didn't cut. So that's probably a better, but it doesn't really matter because we defense broker, and we cut with Ada and Cerise. But I think a more consistent play there would have just been skill 2ing. I was a little afraid of Crown, because it looks like the opponent only has one book, but I guess sometimes you just have to gamble if you put yourself in a situation like this. So we get the Ada combo off, and now it's just Violet against the world here. So he misses on Caesarea, which is what we needed, so that's lucky.
May I help you?
So I don't really have a choice here. I have to go into Violet. We hit, which is pretty big, since this will allow us to stun him, and he's all the way at the back. So we have to go for the skill 3 here to activate the stun, and either hope that we hit, or if he counters, that he misses. So he does counter and he misses. So now we have a win condition. Since Violet is stunned, we can just go into him here, and now unless he 15%s the bomb, we've won. So we got pretty lucky there at the end. Could have easily lost that one.
Finally, we can return to our mission.
Os streams, pra você não banir o BBK, eu olhei assim, eu falei, mano, ele perdeu. Falei, uai, velho. Fiquei só olhando. Ué, não tem mola.
Next game, this time the opponent has banned Rimuru. I have seen some people banning Rimuru, or pre-banning Rimuru, I should say. I'm not sure exactly like what their playstyle is that makes Rimuru so problematic. Like, he can definitely be annoying. Just to me, it seems like there's more annoying units out there. I suppose he can be a good component of like really aggressive drafts, and so maybe if those are a problem, you'd want to pre-ban him. And alternatively, I know some people are building him really degen, and honestly kind of using him as a substitute to Apocalypse Ravi. You know, as basically a big wall utility unit who can steal buffs and still, you know, deals pretty good damage. So perhaps like those team compositions are problematic. So we have a first pick of Landy here. I've played Cal several times. I know he plays pretty slowly and very tanky. So we're going to take APOC. I feel like that's pretty good into a slow tanky strategy. So now I want to decide if I want to Ran Caesarea or not.
Não, tá tudo bem, cara. Eu me sei. Tá, mas ele não tem burst, não tem. Eu me escrevi hoje, por ódio aí.
The problem here is if I show Ran, I'm pretty much tipping my hand. Likewise if I show Caesarea. I could take ML Cowrick, but I could just get, you know, run over by Landy if I do that. So I'm just going to take Ran here, and we're going to go for it.
A sétima playlist desse link aí.
He takes Maid and Violet.
Tá sexta, tá sexta. Tô na sexta. Pera.
So Maid can be a big problem for Ran Caesarea Cleave if she's really high effect resistance. That can be pretty annoying. But I think Caesarea is fairly decent into Violet. You know, once you strip him, the bombs can kill him. It's more of that, you know, he's really good into Ran is the problem with Violet. So we can take Caesarea here. And now I have to decide how I want to flex out, because I don't think I want to just straight cleave this. With Maid and Violet already on the board, that's already a lot of, you know, hate towards a cleave type of draft with Ran and Caesarea. So we need to flex out into something different. Emma Lilius has not been taken yet, and I think she is good into both Landy and Violet. I have a super secret tech secondary Emma Lilius built up, who is really high effectiveness, and since I'm fairly certain that a slower, you know, player is not going to speed contest me, and I already have Ran on the board, I can just take it here. So here's Christy and LQC. So Christy, I don't really 100% know how her kit works. I just know she gives a lot of ER to someone. I don't remember if she has a cleanse or not, but I think the most important thing is she gives a lot of ER to someone.
Isso aqui dá pra poder peso.
So I'm trying to debate who else I want to take here. I think Carrot is a really good option. Carrot is going to be really good into Landy and Violet, and can potentially, you know, burn the LQC, although maybe not with all the ER from Christy. I think we definitely need to get rid of the Maid, since she is for sure a cleanse and a huge amount of sustain, and is probably super high ER, and we're fairly debuff centric, so I think we need to get rid of the Maid. She'll also give a bunch of ER to the team, which in combination with Christy may push, you know, the enemy units out of reach. So kind of a weird draft, but we're gonna hopefully, you know, see it work out.
Muito forte essa game. Muito forte.
Ran a little bit of a dead pick, although maybe he can defense break LQC, we'll see.
Ah, esse cara aqui é o menino da Core que traumatizou some gamer, né?
So I can put immunity up and get attack buff on my carrot.
Ah, eu coloquei com garrafinha, velho.
Debating if I want to S3 here or not. LQC is clearly getting the ER from Christie, so maybe we hit her, maybe we don't. Would be nice if we could strip Landy, but we don't. So we land nothing with Ran, and we did push Violet up, so highly effective. And here's the real test. If our ML Lilius can debuff the team, then I think we have a good shot, and if she can't, then we pretty much die. So she's able to debuff the LQC and also the Landy, so that's good. So I think we just taunt and push back the LQC here.
Step back, flies.
I could have soul burn that. Maybe that would have been a better play. I wanted to save my souls for Carrot, just to be able to rotate, you know, her skill 3. Now I would like to take out Landy, and of course she she counter attacks because counter Landy's always counter. So kind of unfortunate, but you know, we have the berries and a fire unit, so not the worst. Does give speed buff to the enemy team though right away, and that's kind of annoying. But we can strip it away with Carrot, so I guess that part worked out. Alright, well, LQC resists everything because she's getting the ER from Christie, but we do burn the Landy, so that's nice. Carrot's mostly here just to kill Violet and Landy. We're going to have to rely on ML Lilius to control the LQC. Alright, so that's a dead Landy. Okay, so Christie can give attack buff, but she doesn't cleanse, which is nice. I think at this point we just tunnel into the LQC and kill her, because once we kill LQC, I think we have pretty much won the game. Dual attack with Carrot. Would have liked to dual attack with Aravi, but can't get everything. Aravi is able to finish her off, though. Going to Violet here, we get the hit, which is nice. I think it's worth attacking Violet with Carrot there, because if we miss, then he counters and probably puts another burn on himself, and that might have just killed him. He was at full stacks anyways, so we didn't need to worry about, you know, giving him another stack. It is possible for Violet to kill Carrot, it just, I think the odds really have to be against you for that to happen. Okay, Ran is down, but that's, you know, just feeding our Apocalypse Ravi at this point. So I'm just going to go into the Violet here and just get rid of the damage. And we hit because we get lucky. So that'll be pretty much game. Next game is against It's Dragon. He pre-bans ML Kalric. We have first pick, so we're going to take Apocalypse Ravi.
Step back, flies.
Where'd you go? Take a vacation.
Be my soul.
He takes Conquer Lilius and Rimuru. So Conquer Lilius is very difficult to play against, and I think taking Ran into her is one of the better options. He typically outspeeds, he puts up immunity for 2 turns, which can prevent her, you know, attack down and reverse provoke. He also, you know, can be comboed with Cesaria, and you can potentially just cleave, you know, away the opponent. The opponent takes Politis here, which is, I think, smart because I wanted to take Politis. Politis Cesaria is another thing you can do into Conquer Lilius, since if she uses her skills, then you're going to get the, you know, Politis Caesarea combo off. Then he takes Sage Ball. So this is kind of an interesting little combo here with Rimuru, Politis, and Sage Ball. I feel like these are all fairly disruptive to my plan, since I want to skill 2 with Ran into Lilius. But if I do that, then I'm going to pull in Rimuru, right? And that'll be a problem. Also, if I skill 2 with Ran, then Sage Ball is almost certainly going to cut me. And I do give attack up with Silver Rain to Caesarea, or, you know, potentially another unit if he bans away the Caesarea. So that'll prevent Ball from sleeping one of my units, but he'll still sleep the rest, and that's probably too much to handle. So I need to think about this a little bit more, you know, in terms of like how to deal with it. I take Cerise here because I figured if he bans the Ran, then I have Cerise and she can potentially restrict, you know, Politis and Rimuru, and maybe Sage Ball if he's not super high ER. And then I take Steny because he doesn't have a ton of reach for her. I think this might have been a misplay on my part, though. I think maybe, yeah, I'm honestly not sure. Let's see, I have Souls from Steny potentially. Yeah, I think I misplay here a bit. I'm thinking to ban Lilius because I'm afraid if he bans Ran I don't outspeed or something, but then why did I take Cerise, right? So I think I needed to leave Lilius in, unfortunately, and probably ban out the RB. Another option was I could have banned out the RB and just picked Ruel with Steny, and then I think there's a decent chance that my Ruel Steny or Ruel a Ravi or Ravi Steny combination would be able to carry me through, since if I ban away RB, I don't know if he has the damage to deal with all that. Politis is usually pretty squishy, so you can take her down fairly rapidly, and then you'd kill Rimuru and then just leave Ball for last. Would have been an option, I think. So I don't think I picked optimally here. And then here's another thing. I get rid of the Lilius, so we get first turn. And I think honestly the correct play here is to Soulburn S3 with Ran. I think that's 100% the right thing to do, but I don't Soulburn. I guess I greeted. Maybe I guess I wanted the souls for Steny to be able to kill the RB. So we don't get stuns, but Politis does cut. Unfortunately, we didn't land Stigma on her, which I think we needed to land Stigma to win here, to prevent her from cutting. So now we get completely debuffed, and I think this will probably be game. I can try and stun or restrict. Which one do I want to do? I guess I try to stun Ball, because he's coming up next. But we don't get the stun, so either unlucky or he's super high ER, but we landed other stuff, so I think maybe that was just unlucky. And now we get slept. So that's game. Okay, last game here is against Malus Magus. He's pre-banned ML Calric, which you see that. I think one of the things that's interesting about this meta is I'm seeing a lot of different pre-bans. And I guess that's a testament to the fact that there's a lot of good heroes. So say what you will about the meta, at least it's not carrot meta where that's all you ever took, right? And you know, the pre-bans were like extremely rigid. Or maybe earlier where like literally everyone is pre-banning AOL or like maybe one other unit or something. We're seeing Bellion pre-bans, Lilius pre-bans, Calric pre-bans, Rimuru pre-bans, right? It seems like there's a bit more of a variety right now. And I think that's one of the signs of at least a decent meta, is that we have a variety of pre-bans and we have a variety of strategies, right? You're seeing cleave, you're seeing aggro, you're seeing standard still. So he's taken Ran, which is really rude by the way, and AOL. So I have to do something different here. I think, you know, this is a very debuff heavy opening from the opponent, and he's banned away the best cleanser in the game. So I feel like he's trying to cleave, or he's trying to be very aggressive here, so I need to set up myself against that. I debate about taking Maid, but it might be a little early to take her. I don't want to get landed and stuff. So I take Troublemaker Crozet. He's a cleanser, and if I pick Maid or something along those lines, then I guess he would work well with that, with a Team ER imprint and stuff. So he can also potentially push up if the opponent goes really aggressive and tries to cleave. I thought about taking ML Lilius, but I don't know how fast this guy is, and I didn't really want a speed contest when he first picks Ran. If he picks speed imprints, it could put me in an awkward position. So now he's taken LQC and Conquer Lilius. So I take Maid here for sure. I think Maid is really good because she's high ER, so she can cleanse away all the stuff from, AOL, Lilius, and Ran. She also gives me Revive, which is, I think, really important against LQC if I have to leave that in. And to note here, the opponent's team is extremely low damage, right? The only damage dealer they have is LQC. So I want to set up my draft to be able to just ban whatever is last, or to be able to ban the LQC, depending on which DPS is more problematic. So I need a cleanser, and I need something with immunity. It would be ML Cowrick, but he's banned out, so we're going to take DJB. So here we have double revive against LQC. If he bans one of the revives, then I have Stenny still into her, right? And he has no reach for Stenny. So I think I'm very safe here to just ban last, probably. Or if the DPS is really non-threatening, to just ban LQC. But I think Landy is way more threatening here, especially with Lilius. Okay, so we ban away the Landy, and then we take the DJB, and let's see, do I need to do any ER or any team imprint stuff? I guess we'll put Stenny and DJB under a Ravi imprints. And then Troublemaker Crozet, I guess, yeah, I'll give more ER to DJB just to make sure. Probably more valuable, right, than giving himself some health. Since at this point we just want DJB to have as much ER as possible. I think, let's see, with imprints, he should be around like 275 or 280 or something. And that should be enough. Most people, not very many people run more than 200 effectiveness. Alright, so he is able to give attack buff to LQC there. That's a little scary, not gonna lie. Because LQC will also have vigor. So thankfully, the opponent did not land any defense breaks. I don't think it would have really mattered because I was honestly probably going to S3 with DJB here no matter what. If the opponent landed defense breaks, he might have been able to hold the skill 3 from AOL and force my DJB skill 3 out and then skill 3 with AOL after, but I don't think that would have done anything because frankly my units don't really need buffs, right? I mean, I guess it's nice. And I guess the nicest thing here is that I can skill 3 onto Apocalypse Ravi and make it difficult for LQC to one-shot her, even with attack buff and vigor, because we have, all the mitigation from Troublemaker Crozet, so that 40% damage share, and then we also have defense buff and anti-crit. So I feel like it'd be kind of a coin flip here if he wants to go for the skill 3, since doing so, he might just like not crit, right? And then that would be like really awkward. I think I honestly should have just gone into the LQC here instead of hitting the Ran and taking away the skill null. That was a misplay. I should have gone into LQC. Potentially could have just killed her between a Ravi and the Soul Burn on Stenny. I think it might have killed. But instead I guess I'm just going on the Ran, and we're going to let LQC do her thing. I wanted to heal up here, and I guess my thought was like, oh, Ran has lower defense, so I'll heal more, but I think I might have been able to kill the LQC. Maybe not if it was super tanky with Vigor buff, I guess. So he's soul burning, and he's going into Troublemaker Crozet. He does not want to take the 50-50. So we have Holy Sacrifice, and youch, that hurt. But our Stenny lived, which is important. DJB does not. He did his job, though. And I think this is pretty much game, since our Stenny survived, and our Arabi survived, right? So Arabi has 3 turns of immunity. And we can just go into LQC here and wreck her. And she was pretty squishy actually, so I definitely could have killed her if I just went for her out the gate. Okay, that's game.
Sem, pai. Também nem tá boa, tá mais ou menos, velho.
He knows that. It's fine, it's not
Okay, actually let's do one more game. This is a fun one. So, Bellion and Lilia's pre-ban go into the typical Apocalypse Ravi.
Life ends here.
Eu devia ter banido o Fallen, mas eu não sabia que ele ia banir.
And the opponent takes AOL and Stenny. So this is an interesting opening.
É a
AOL and Stenny I think are a pretty good combination together, since you generally want AoE heroes to reach Stenny and kill her, but if you take those you're going to trigger AOL as passive, right? And then also some of the AoE heroes are kind of weakened to AOL for other reasons, like Charlotte for example, right? Just gets debuffed and crushed. So a pretty decent combo. But this is pretty early to take AOL when Meteor or Cowrick is on the board, so I'm just going to take him. And then I want something else. And I think Politis is actually really strong in this situation. I don't like taking Politis when the opponent has a Ravi, but I have a Ravi, so I don't have to worry about that. And I don't like doing that because Politis is generally kind of squishy, and so it's just an easy S3 target for a Ravi. But Politis is nice here because if the opponent uses AOL, it's going to trigger Politis, and she'll, provide reach for Stenny, she'll clear away the skill nulls, she'll do a lot of work. I have been trying to make an ML Cowrick video. The problem is, I feel like whenever I pick him, he just gets banned, which is kind of awkward. So the opponent takes FCC here, and then takes LQC. So I don't know if FCC was necessarily the best, since I have a buff block, or an unbuffable unit in Politis already. And FCC is kind of weak to that, and the opponent hasn't taken a cleanser, so I feel like the opponent's quite weak to Politis right now. I also have Cowrick, and he's good into LQC, so I don't really like the FCC LQC pick here. I feel like the opponent has taken things that's weak into what I already have, and that sets me up to, I guess, take whatever I want here, kind of, right? Because I can ban last, no matter what, and I don't have to worry. So I take Maid and then SSB, but I accidentally take my Wyvern SSB, so you see she's only plus 13 there, and she has kind of high CP. It's because she's like all damage and no bulk. I've done this like a couple times now because I didn't have an SSB built up for Wyvern before, but I made a one-shot team. And so I'm not used to having a second SSB on my thing, so I'm just used to sorting, by Ranger and just clicking the first SSB I see. So I'm going to have to make a mental note to stop doing this because I feel like it's lost a couple games already. If I had taken a normal SSB, one with a bit of bulk here, I think this would have been an easy win, since, SSB would have been able to take a couple hits and it would have been fine. But that didn't happen, so now I kind of have to pray. I think we're still in an okay spot here. We have Politis, for the AOL.
A cota de counter dele deu 6 dano. A cota de counter dele já foi já. Isso? Pera. Eu acho que isso. Ele me matou.
Careful. Please move aside.
Alright, so Stenny is not on immunity, which is really nice, since that means that I don't have to worry about stripping it with Politis, so the opponent, could hypothetically hold skill 3 on AOL, and if his Stenny had immunity, then I wouldn't really be able to put unbuffable on her, right? I would have to give Stenny a turn first, but without immunity, that lets me soul burn here and just cycle around to my skill 3, and then I can get buff block and hopefully, mischance on everyone. So I guess we're just gonna go into LQC here, hoping for a stun, but we don't get it. Also, we kind of want to bump her up so that she doesn't get as many Hellcutter stacks. Okay, so we get hit down and unbuffable on 3 of the 4, and honestly the most important 3, because we're going to want to kill, LQC pretty quickly here. We don't want to just let her cycle around. So he goes for SSB and misses. I think at this point I realize that my SSB is not the one that I picked, and I start to panic. Because, if Stenny stuns SSB, then I could be in big trouble.
You want to try me?
Mano, como que eu botar essa boneca assim?
There's
Nada
no
parece.
escape.
So goes for the S3 and does land, which is unfortunate. And it does almost kill. I think this was definitely the point that I realized this was the wrong SSB.
I'll deal with this.
Honestly, wish it had killed there because then I would have gotten a skill 3 off. So that's a bit unfortunate.
Pera, não, não. É. Aqui, ó, peraí.
I'm left
Aqui vai ter, relaxa.
Okay, so now SSB comes back.
Aqui vai ter, aqui vai ter.
But she's so slow, she's probably not going to get a turn before she just dies again.
É no 2. No 2 tem, no 2 tem.
Go for the stun again, don't get it.
my land is threatened.
So we still have revive on APOC in case this lands. Luckily we got a miss there, so that's good. And this pushes up our APOC and it triggers the S3 from SSB. But I guess the splash damage kills her anyways, which actually I think ends up working out here because now we can skill 3 LQC, and this will CR boost our full damage Wyvern SSB to the front into a defense broken Stenny. So this was really all part of the plan, and I'm glad that I made the choice to draft the high damage one here. Which doesn't even have 100% crit, I guess, because it's Wyvern. Okay, that's game. Thanks for watching.